Shemai Kuyana Teluchi. Hello, everybody, and welcome for coming. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. We look forward to a summertime episode. This is episode 10 of King's Corner, and we thank you for joining us. And so we got another great show in store for you today. We've got some Lutic language, we've got some fun facts, some weather reviews, and we also have a special guest with us today. So why don't we just jump right in and get started? Our special guest today is the news director for KMXT 100.1 FM, Mr. Davis Hovey. How you doing, Davis? Thank you for joining us.
Oh, yes, Koyana. Thank you, Jess. I appreciate it. It's a pleasure to be here on King's Corner. Yeah.
Awesome. No thanks necessary. So we're so grateful that you took the time here, Davis, to speak a few minutes with us here and share, a little bit of your story and, let the viewer at home get a chance to know a little bit about you and your team over there at KMXT. So unless you want to plug somebody real quick, we can jump right in.
No, that you go for it. That sounds great.
Awesome. So, where are you from, Davis?
Yeah, so originally I'm from just outside of Charlottesville, Virginia,
Wow.
2 hours south of Washington, D.C. area.
Okay.
Grew up in a rural farm mountain town,
Okay.
kind of small, but not as small as Kodiak Island, or certainly not, Port Lions, but still kind of rural. And then kind of made my way further north into colder and colder climates. Eventually ended up in Nome, Alaska, and then was working there and living there for 7 years at the radio station. And
wow.
then moved to Kodiak January of 2024. So
Okay.
year and a half ago. And
okay, cool.
Yeah, been loving it ever since.
Good deal. Wow. Well, what's the what's it like living in Nome, brother?
It's cold, man. It's very cold.
Yeah.
Winters are different. I personally, I really enjoyed the sea ice and the opportunities that you are provided, I guess, seasonally. There's something about being able to cross country ski or snow machine out on the frozen Bering Sea, and
Wow.
put down a crab pot if you want to subsist for
That's
red
awesome.
king crab. Yeah.
Oh,
So
man.
there's a lot of unique beauties to Nome, but it's cold and it's dark during the winter, so it can be tough. Yeah.
Right, for sure. And of course, as you know, we're on Starlink here. So the folks here in the village know what that's like. And if we get a
Yeah.
lag here or there, we just roll with it. So that's
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely.
So are there, are polar bears an issue up in that area?
Not when I was there. I got there in 2016, and my entire time there wasn't really an issue. But we'd hear of a bear ending up on Diomede Island, walking across the sea
Okay.
ice, swimming at different times. We heard of there was one in Wales before I left, and that was a very, very tragic situation. And then but yeah, I mean, above the Arctic Circle, they're definitely around. Towards Nome, I think some people say that maybe you'll see one occasionally, but when I was there, I didn't see any signs of any. So
Oh, that's good. I'd be thankful for that too, because
yes,
I'm leery enough of our Kodiak bears
yeah,
around here, and I hear, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that polar bears are they're straight carnivores, right?
yeah,
They're not omnivorous; they just live on meat, and so
mhm,
they see humans as more of a target than maybe our bears,
absolutely,
or as a
yeah.
food source. But yeah, so okay, that's interesting. So you said you grew up in Virginia.
hmm
Okay. And did you go to college or did you do any higher learning?
Yeah, I was at Syracuse University in New York,
Oh,
and I knew pretty early on I wanted to do something with journalism.
okay.
I wasn't quite sure radio, TV, sports, newspaper writing, something. I was a little undecided, but then at Syracuse, I was able over the course of those 4 years, I was able to figure out, okay, I really prefer radio. I did the whole TV news thing and the fancy
Sure.
shirt, suit and tie,
Okay.
shaved beard. That whole
Okay.
look
Okay.
wasn't for me, so
Right.
um, I decided radio was a little bit more laid back and more of my
Okay.
pace. So, yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. No, I appreciate that. It's funny you mentioned Syracuse.
Mm.
My eldest son used to live in Fayetteville, and he
Oh,
went to Fayetteville Manlius there
yes,
for a
FM High
couple of years.
School.
That's
Wow.
right. That's right. And
Okay.
so they spent a few years there in New York and loved it. And she was in the military, but
Mm,
she moved to just outside of DC, and then
mm.
my eldest came up here. But it was just sparked some interest there because you mentioned Syracuse, and sounds like a really neat place there.
It is, yeah. I mean, FM, yeah. FM High School is not too far away. I was
Right.
living in the neighborhood, in the greater Syracuse area, and I love Central New York. It's a beautiful place, especially during the fall time. Kodiak, from my experience so far, Kodiak doesn't have much of a fall season. I mean, it is there. You do
Sure.
see the foliage turning colors, and you do have that little lull right before winter, I guess. But
Right.
in New York, the fall is like the highlight. You have all these apple orchards and apple
Mm,
cider season, and the leaves are all turning, bright orange and red and yellow, and
sure.
yeah, it's just fall up there is beautiful. So
For
yeah.
sure. Yeah, that I've heard. My oldest has told me stories about, yeah,
Mm,
how neat it is there in the fall, and
mm,
all the beautiful colors and whatnot. That's pretty neat.
yeah.
Cool. So do you have a family, Davis, or
So it's just me.
oh, okay.
I moved from Virginia to Nome by myself. Didn't know
Oh wow.
anybody, there
Oh
prior.
really?
Um,
Wow.
yeah, developed some really close friendships there. Good connections, strong ties. A lot of my friends still live there, and then
Oh cool.
um, uh, a woman I started dating before I left Nome. She and I stayed together, and she actually followed me here to Kodiak. So
Oh cool.
she's living in Kodiak and working at Providence at the
Oh
medical center.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh good
So
deal.
just
Oh
the two of
cool.
us. Yeah. Yeah.
Right
Just the
on.
two of us, though, and an old retired sled dog that we also
Okay.
brought from Nome.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
That was my next question. Is what about pets?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I mean, and that's another thing too. I mean, I'm sure traditionally, historically, maybe the Alutiiq people had more connection with sled dogs, even though there's not really much snow. But I,
Right.
in Nome, it was, there's sled dogs everywhere
For
still,
sure.
in a lot of the villages as well in the Bering Strait region. So I just felt like I really wanted a sled dog, and I wanted to see what it was like to be a sled dog owner. So she's a good one. She's quieter than most sled dogs that I know, so that's helpful.
Okay. Right. And
Yeah.
then so are they usually exclusively husky breeds or
Yeah, so from my understanding, yeah, the Alaskan Husky mix, which qualifies a lot of different breeds, kind of mixed in there, but not necessarily the Malamute, but more of well, I guess it depends really on which kennel you're coming from, but yeah, more of the Alaskan Husky mix,
okay.
and
Okay.
she's 12 years old and run a couple Iditarods and ready for warmer climate and less
Sure.
snow. So I think she's doing
Nice
all right.
retirement, huh?
Exactly.
That's cool. No, that's
Yeah.
interesting because we got a Malamute and he is a
Mm,
beast. I mean, he's a big cuddly thing, but he's a giant dog and
yes.
obviously more. slower and sort of more power, right, than a
Right.
husky would have. But that's neat. Okay, so what I know you mentioned this a little bit already, but could you talk a little bit about your work history?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I went to school at Syracuse, I again focused on broadcast digital journalism, which at the time the technology was really focused on. Podcasts were just beginning to
Okay,
take off.
sure.
We were looking at Twitter, now X, of course, but at the time, it was still very early on in Twitter days. We were
Okay.
looking at the nuances of live tweeting and streaming, and
Hmm.
being able to really capture news events in real time,
Right.
and technology was starting to catch up. This was prior to Starlink, as you mentioned before, too. So, internet in different places, you're still very reliant on whatever access you have, if you have access in certain areas. Um, and so, when I went to Nome, we were still using um, what's called a Marti unit. It's just an old manufacturer of radio broadcasting equipment, so that we
Oh,
could
okay.
do live reports for Iditarod, for some of the dance festivals in some of the
Okay.
villages, different
Neat.
community events. Yeah, so that was a lot of fun, but the technology was still that we were using at the time was still kind of outdated. Um,
Sure.
and when I was in Nome, I was really able to kind of um, cover a variety of things, and I was started out as a reporter there, then
Okay.
moved up into the news director position, and then similar to I think all most public radio stations in Alaska, it's hard to keep a big staff of people at all of these stations. A lot of times you
Sure.
see, just one or two people at a radio station.
Right.
And we would fluctuate anywhere from, three three people to then, 7 to 9 or 10 people. Sometimes our newsroom would just be me. Sometimes our newsroom would be me and a reporter or a couple of interns. So it
Right.
was always kind of fluctuating. And
Sure.
so because of that, like I said, was able to cover a lot of different topics, and focus on community events, go to school board meetings, city council meetings, but also try to um, cover the larger region and events that were going on in some of the villages as well. And there's so many things to talk about, and
Sure.
report on for the news. And so then
Right.
that brought me to Anchorage for a brief period of time as I was trying to figure out where I wanted to go next. And I knew that I wanted to continue reporting in rural Alaska because, again, it's just there's so many um, unique and full, rich stories to be told. I mean, life in rural Alaska is very different from urban Alaska, and of course, the
Mm,
lower 48. I mean, you really have to live off the road system, I think, to truly appreciate life in this great state. So,
for
uh,
sure.
that then helped me kind of decide, okay, well, I want to go somewhere else that's off the road system that I haven't been in. Kodiak was looking for a news director, so I came to KMXT in January of 2024, and kind of hit the ground running from there. And
Cool.
it's been similar to some of the stories that I've covered in Nome, but again, a different variety, of course, with the unique
Right.
environment here, the more fishing dependent economy and communities. Um, there's just so many different intricacies, I think, here, and of course, as I'm sure we're going to talk about, the Alutiiq language.
Right.
Has some overlap with Inupiaq, which I was learning some of when I was in Nome and getting to talk about that as well. But um, yeah, just a whole nother culture and history here. So it's great to be part of that as well.
For sure. And I just brought up kmxt.org for the folks at home.
Yeah.
And I've read several of your articles there, Davis, and I appreciate them. They're comprehensive and really great for finding out what's going on in, especially on the island, because it's sometimes it seems like it's hard to find island
Mm,
news.
mm,
And that's sort of, you brought up. Let me pop this off here for a second. Um, but that was one of the reasons why I wanted to start this stream. Um, it was several reasons, but one of the main ones was that the lack of sort of news, or
mm,
you know I wanted to have sort of like a one stop shop for weather and current events in the village. I mean, you hardly ever see that, if at all, in any kind of news capacity, at least on the island. I know you guys try and do a good job of reporting on pertinent things in the village, but as a whole, the daily stuff falls through the cracks and stuff. And so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this, was to bring people the local current events in the village. Obviously weather is a huge thing, so we always cover the weather here because we're so obviously affected by it, and being off the road system like you mentioned. And so I can definitely appreciate that.
Well, I
um
appreciate you doing that too, Jess. Honestly, it's great to see things like King's Corner and initiatives from uh, our villages around Kodiak Island and around the state. Because as you mentioned, I'd be the first to admit, journalism in the way that we functioned for, I don't know, the last few decades or so, we've done a terrible job of promoting news and information coming out of rural communities, and Alaska Native communities specifically, especially when it's something that is about the rich lifestyle and culture and positive things. We always tend to focus on the
sure.
negative, unfortunately, and
Right.
that is a failure not only within um, for our reporters and that generation, but also just our institutions. I mean, we were taught for such a long time that if you're going to report on news, it has to be something that grabs a listener's attention, and
Right.
the quick and well, the main ingredient there is, if it bleeds, it leads, and
Right.
that was something that we were just always taught,
Right.
so
It's sort of gratuitous in that way.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
and
Cool. Well, no, yeah, it's well put there. I appreciate that, Davis. So what would you say are some of your hobbies outside of working at the radio station?
well, it's one of those jobs that doesn't necessarily leave a whole lot of time for hobbies. If
Okay.
you Well, I'll sort of describe it as this, I guess. So a lot of times, depending on what you want to focus on as a reporter, um, you may end up you may feel like you're working all the time,
Mm,
which isn't
okay.
quite the case. But it feels like, because I'm living in the community and I want to be part of different events and things. I personally, I spend my time uh, outdoors as much as possible. I love hiking anywhere around the island. I love being out on the water, kayaking. Um, I want to do some more fishing while I'm here for sure, especially this summer. And
For
I
sure.
I also get involved with other organizations, volunteer on a volunteer basis,
Oh, great.
and so that then brings in um, any opportunity I have while I'm out exploring or talking to different people. It kind of brings in an element of, well, I'm still a reporter at the end of the day,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
we may be talking about how the trail was, hiking up Heightman or Pyramid or something like that, and then I found out about the Kodiak Mountain series that happened this weekend. So then I decided to volunteer for that, and at the same
Oh,
time,
neat.
use that for work. So I'll be putting out a story about the Kodiak Mountain series
Oh,
this
cool.
afternoon. Yeah. So,
Oh,
um,
good
but,
deal.
but in terms of my hobbies, even the ones that don't always overlap with work. Yeah, I just love being outdoors and doing whatever I can to experience the true beauty of Alaska. So
For sure. Well, you picked a good spot, I have to say.
yes, yeah,
And what you mentioned earlier about news in the villages, and especially on this island, I'm really hoping that we can. I know for the viewers at home, Davis and I have been corresponding back and forth for a little bit now, and we've been sort of throwing around the idea of sort of gathering news from the other villages as well. And that's something that I'll be looking into, and then hopefully I can forward that information on to Davis so um, he can broadcast it as he sees fit there at KMXT. But
mhm,
the goal and the idea is to sort of get some more local news going on, especially from the villages.
mhm,
Um, and so I think. I believe anyway that would be interesting to all sorts of different viewers. And I always hear, when you live in the village and you go to Kodiak, say, they're always asking, hey, how are you doing, how's the family, what's going on in the village,
mhm,
and so I think that may sort of fill that void a little bit, to give people some current events and activities, and not just the bad like you mentioned, but also good things, or um, traditional things, or habitual things,
mhm,
seasonal things, right? And
mhm,
I really think that both of our viewerships would benefit from that and find it interesting. And so, in the coming weeks here, I'm going to be looking hard into seeing if I can get a hold of some of the leaders from the different villages, and maybe some council members or something like that, to sort of share what they have going on in the village with other people. And so, um, something to look forward to, and something that I'm excited to collaborate with you, Davis, on. So that's an exciting thing that hopefully we can bring to fruition there. Um,
yeah,
so
absolutely.
have you always been? I know you touched on this a little bit earlier, but have you always been interested in journalism? Was it like you mentioned, from an early age, you just kind of knew?
Um, I think I knew I wanted to write from an early
Mm,
age, and that's kind of ironic in a sense because my mom is a writer. She does her own freelance stuff. She's written different pieces for magazines. She's focused on freelance articles, things she wants to write. I think she's also kind of been mulling over a book or a children's book or something for a while now. So she's as long as I've been alive, she's always been writing. And when I was in school, she would take it upon herself to edit my writing pieces, my
oh,
essays
wow.
for
Okay.
school, and
All right.
yeah, to be quite honest, that was a little intimidating for me,
I
and I didn't
bet.
necessarily enjoy that.
For
Um,
sure.
so to then say that, oh, I knew I was going to be a writer is kind of ironic in that sense. But once I hit, I think it was sophomore year of high school, I was able to do this sort of extra credit, extracurricular class that was an elective where I could focus on a career option or some sort of
Mm,
skill set that they weren't teaching at our school. But if I could find
interesting.
somebody to sponsor me who was, working in this environment and it was their job to do this,
Right.
um, then I could basically learn from them in an internship type capacity and get
Okay.
school credit for it.
Right.
So I was able to find a local radio DJ host. He was kind of he was doing sports radio, so he was the
Okay.
voice of the Virginia Cavaliers, our University of Virginia um, sports and athletics program. So he would broadcast, the football games, the basketball games, all of the bigger sports at UVA. And he would also do local high school sports on Friday or once a week, mainly on Friday evenings. And yeah, he took me on and showed me the ropes of being a radio announcer and a DJ. And even though we weren't focused on news, it sort of led me to just look at radio as a whole and say,
Mm,
okay, what can I do in radio journalism? And then that's when I started to learn more about, okay, well, there's NPR, public radio, there's sports
sure.
radio, there's that type of thing. So,
Mm,
um, yeah, I think it kind of grew a little bit over time, but it definitely started with just that spark of, okay, well, I like to write. I like to um, either, lay out all these different facts, or I like to have a narrative storytelling type format.
mm,
And I think to one of your earlier points, Jess, I think storytelling in itself is
yeah.
really just it's a key
Yeah.
component of community here on Kodiak Island and across rural Alaska, of course. And that's really the essence of news reporting. It's a matter
Right.
of telling a story. And
Exactly.
yeah, so I think that for anyone who's listening, and some of your students I
Mm,
know at Port Lions are very good and enjoy this podcast, this show, King's Corner, that
mhm.
you've been doing with them. If they enjoy storytelling, if they enjoy, just sharing some news with one of their friends or relatives or a stranger on the street, I mean that in essence is journalism. So
Right.
yeah.
No, that's I appreciate that. That's a great point. And it seems like your skill set is sort of one that seems to be fading a little bit in some ways,
Mm,
with the advent of technology,
mhm,
unfortunately.
mhm.
Well, in some ways, in this case, it's helped, right? But in other, in the sense of, or in the context of, children and
Yeah.
students, and in that context, it seems like there's less and less of that. So,
Right.
any viewers, any parents watching, definitely encourage your kids to look into something like this. Like Davis said, storytelling, and
Mhm.
this is a rich tradition in our culture, and not just our culture, but every culture
Mm,
in the world. Storytelling was a key component of passing along traditions, passing along information and history, oral history. I mean, before writing was a thing, oral history, and even still today, oral history is a large part of culture, and
mhm.
so that's a great point. So encourage your kids to read, encourage your kids to do stuff like this live stream. We had a really great year with the students here,
Yeah.
and I had a really good report from um, because in a certain capacity you're teaching this stuff, right? And
Mhm.
the challenge for me was teaching that, plus moderating, plus doing the technical side of it, plus hosting.
Right.
And so it's like normally you have a tech person to do that, with you in the moment. And so there's some things that have to give a little bit there. Thankfully we were able to just, with tech issues, we'd press on and
Mhm.
get through it. But a credit to the students, because they Ken Stockard, that you met there, that
Yeah.
brought the kids into KMXD.
Yep.
He mentioned the comfort level that they had in your studio, and
Mhm.
I was like, wow, that maybe they are enjoying this more than I think that they are, and so that was I was happy to hear that, that
Yeah.
maybe they were getting something from it, or maybe they want to start a podcast or a stream of their own. And So really, really good stuff there.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's funny too to me, Jess, because yeah, some of our radio equipment here is old. It's very outdated. Again, kind of talking about what I brought up earlier. Some of the things that we were taught in school, that equipment technically should be outdated and outmoded at this point.
right.
But we use what we have,
Mm,
especially in rural public radio stations. We don't have
right.
the biggest budgets for equipment. So, but yeah, your students were picking it up easy. So
Cool.
that's great to see.
Yeah, happy to hear that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, equipment, especially in this field,
Mhm.
it's really. I mean, they do have some good, mid-level stuff, right? As
Mhm.
far as that goes, but yeah, generally the top-notch stuff is crazy expensive, and
Oh, absolutely.
so I tried to find a middle ground, honestly, with the
Yeah.
gear we have, but. But no, that's a good point. And then, so what would you say, Davis, is sort of um, a day-to-day experience there over at KMXT?
Yeah. Well, I guess I haven't really talked about my coworkers, so we'll start there. So,
Sure.
um,
Introduce them if you would, please.
yeah, yeah. So here at KMXT, there is a team of let's see, one, two, three, four, five, six. Um, Six of us with a couple of sort of part timers thrown in there. So
Okay.
let's just call it eight.
Okay.
We're definitely under 10
Okay.
people here at the station. We have Terry Haynes, our morning show host. He's on every morning. If you listen to KMXT, as you said, 100.1 FM in the morning, or we also have KODK, which is our sort of sister station, I guess I'll call it. It's more music focused, but it also
Okay.
has some news and NPR programming in there, and that's on 90.7 FM.
Okay. Good to know.
Um,
90.7.
yeah, and I'm not sure, to be honest. I mean, I know we have a pretty good quality reception through our translator in Port Lions, but I'm not sure how clear you'd be able to hear KODK. But anyway,
Right.
um, Terry Haynes does every morning show, Monday through Friday. He also typically does our midday report, which is just the noon version of the morning show. And then he is also our fisheries reporter. So every week he puts together news from around the state related to fisheries, and it could be commercial fisheries, it could be subsistence fisheries, it could
Mm,
be research and science coming out from NOAA fisheries, it could be a fun story from a kids camp learning to fish or something of that nature. So anything really related to fisheries, he's all over it. And he was a commercial fisherman for a long time, and after he
okay.
got off the boat, I guess he decided he wanted to work in public radio of all things. So
That's
yeah,
cool.
so yeah, he's been at KMXC for a while, and
Great.
so he's our main morning guy. Then in our newsroom, we also have Brian Venois. He's our senior reporter. So between him, myself, and Terry, we sort of cover all of our newscasts, which is three times a day. Excuse me, 5 days a week. We're also the ones writing the stories and reporting on it. And Brian has family from the Philippines. He grew up in Dillingham, but he
Oh,
has a
cool.
strong connection to Filipino culture and the community here in Kodiak. So he's
For sure.
very plugged into that, and he
Good
does a
deal.
great job reporting on education stories and different special projects. So he's done a lot for the past 3 years. Basically, he's been with KMXT. Um, and then there's me, so that's our
Cool.
newsroom. Then,
Good deal.
aside from the news and the content, and that sort of stuff, we have to raise money. We have to fundraise. We're a nonprofit, so we have
Right.
development staff, um,
Okay.
and our development team is Bradley Coben, excuse me, and he's
Hmm.
a local Kodiak kid. Grew up in Kodiak, went to Kodiak High School. Um,
Oh, good.
and we have Christina Van Hoogmode, if I'm pronouncing her last name correctly. We just call her K Van for short, but she
Mhm.
used to teach here in the Kodiak Island School District, and
Oh, okay.
as I guess as time went on, she also was looking for something different and joined us last year as the development director. So between her and Bradley, they're creating the spots, the promotions that you hear on air sometimes, supporting um, uh, announcements for local businesses, community events. They put together a bunch of different fun things, like they've been hosting trivia nights. They've been doing a family feud style event.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, just getting our name and our faces out there, and trying to bring more people in as donors, but also get more people involved in general. Because at the end of the day, KMXT is a community radio station, and we do a lot more than just play NPR programming or
Right.
local news. So,
No,
um,
I
yeah,
appreciate that. Thank you. And this will be something hopefully the viewers um, can learn about. What actually is going on there. And
sure.
yeah, I'm grateful to your team. I mean, the end product is nice and clean, and it's colorful and vivid, and it looks polished. I'll say that.
Mhm.
And yeah, I appreciate it, and also to the team of to the fundraisers, right? I mean, you couldn't do it without them. And
No,
so,
definitely not.
um,
Yeah.
huge aspect of what you guys have going on over there. And I, for one, am grateful for that.
Mhm.
It's honestly usually where I go first to find out what's going on in Kodiak. And so that's neat. And shout out to all the KMXT crew there,
Yes.
um, working with Davis.
Mhm.
Um, so what? And we sort of. Are you okay on time, Davis? Do you? I mean,
Yeah,
I'm just. We're just kind of cruising along here. But
we're doing great. Yeah.
okay, okay. I didn't want to keep you. But no, this is good. There's a lot more um substance and sort of meat, right?
Mhm.
That I appreciate. And so, what would you say is the is sort of the most rewarding aspect of working at KMXT?
Oh man. Yeah. That is a tough one. Personally for me, I experienced this in Nome too when I was there, and it's certainly the same here in Kodiak, and I'm sure elsewhere on the island in Port Lions and the other communities. But when you understand that you are just another person, you're a person, I'm a person talking to another person on the other end, right?
Hmm.
Even though I don't see our listeners' faces, right? When I'm talking into the microphone during the newscasts, or when I'm recording a story or reporting.
Right,
Um, and we don't typically get feedback, directly. But
right,
when when it clicks that, oh, people are actually listening, like I'm not
mm,
just talking out into the void,
right.
and nobody's hearing
Yeah.
me. That really is the most rewarding part, is that what the information we're providing is crucial, is important.
Mm,
And as you
right.
said, weather. I mean, weather is like one of the
Yeah.
most essential things we provide, is up to date
Right.
weather information multiple times a day throughout the day.
Right.
Um, uh, yeah, fisheries reports,
For sure.
things happening at local meetings, right? And when I realized that, oh, uh, I was out, I don't know, like this past week in the community, and someone had come up to me and said, "Well, yeah, I read about that, that story that you just did on KMXT," and it's like, oh, um, this has an actual impact and ripple effects, and
For sure.
that part for me is very rewarding, especially in a local community, a rural community, because radio is different,
Yeah.
very different here than it would be, in the lower 48.
For
So,
sure. For
yeah.
sure. No, that's a great point, and honestly, we could go on and on here. I'm loving this, but that's one thing. On this end too is like, normally during our streams, I hadn't anticipated a sort of a high viewer count
Mm,
because of the time frame, right? And
right.
most people are out doing stuff when we do it, and so. Um, just knowing that most of our viewers come after the fact, and then we always encourage them to they're always there for you to watch whenever you want, whenever you have a minute. And so at first I was a little worried about a lot of times this last year, we'd have one or two live viewers or none, and
Mhm.
I'd be like, am I doing something wrong here? Or or whatnot. But and then you'd see the data later that people would watch it. And so
Yeah,
um and this little thing here, King's Corner, wasn't meant to sort of reach millions or something
sure.
that like that. That wasn't the goal. It was sort of to reach the local folks,
Mhm,
and anybody else who was interested in the local things. And we try to make it fun with fun facts and some language
mhm.
and stuff like that. And so that's a great point, because that's you feel like you're talking into the void
Yep.
sometimes. That's a great way to put it. Cool. Um, so what would you say is your what's the most challenging part of working there at KMXT?
Mm. Well, simultaneously a blessing and a curse, I guess, to this
Mm,
same point. Since I'm not just talking into a void, and since I live here where I'm reporting and doing my job,
right.
uh, sometimes the stories that we report on have negative impacts and
Mm,
consequences and
right.
effects on other people's lives.
Sure.
And it's always that hard decision and that hard process of setting that setting that side of setting that part aside and realizing that, well, even though I know this person, uh, I know who they are, I know what they do in the community, I know that I have a relationship with that person, or I know their family, or whatever it is. um,
Right.
I still, at the end of the day, have to do my job, and that can be the most challenging part, because you
Mm,
kind of, again, to something you were alluding to earlier. um, Once you put that story out there, it lives forever, right? And
yeah.
so
Right.
my name is attached to that story that's on our website, and that
Right.
person that I wrote about is going to be in that is always going to be on our website, that associated with that story. Um, and then we have to go on continuing to live our lives and do our jobs, and that can be a struggle sometimes, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I empathize with that for sure, and sympathize.
Yeah.
That would be tough.
Mm.
What's um what would you say like your daily responsibilities are, as sort of the news director there?
Yeah, and this kind of goes back to the day-to-day question, which I guess I didn't fully answer. But so I try to work a normal sort of 8 to 5,
Okay.
time day. Um, but the beauty of news is, sometimes there's meetings going on in the later evenings, or there's something happening on a weekend, or whatever the case may be. But um,
Right.
ultimately, I'm spending a good portion of my day calling people, talking to people, trying to get information about a certain topic, then
Hmm.
doing the formal interview process, I guess, whether that be, speaking to them over the phone or in person. And then the rest of it's pretty much writing and editing,
Right.
which again goes back to that core concept that I mentioned earlier. But um, yeah, once I've collected the audio and done sufficient interviews to get the information that I need for the story, and made sure that I've got all sides and all relevant perspectives there, and making sure
Mm,
that I'm not missing anything that needs to be fact checked or
right.
yeah, double checked and verified. Yeah, I'm pretty much just writing that story and getting it ready to air in our newscast, and that could be um, something shorter. We have what we call wraps, where it's just sort of a little bit of audio thrown in there, a couple of quotes basically, and that may be
Right.
only a minute or 2 minutes. But then sometimes we do longer stories, longer form stories that might be more like 4 minutes, and those are typically what we call packages that have our voice as the reporter, as the narrator, but then also more voices from the people we've interviewed, and maybe some sounds from where we were recording and reporting. So there's a little bit of that mixed in too, and
Sure.
we definitely try to operate on deadlines. I know some newsrooms and reporters are way more invested in deadlines. Some
Mm,
are, you have to have this, by 5 o'clock the end of the day, or vice versa by
right.
8 a.m. the next morning, right? And they'll be furiously writing and working away to make sure that they meet that deadline. But
Right.
we're we're a little bit more laid back, in the sense that we would rather make sure that we've done our thorough vetting and
Mm,
our due diligence before we put out a story that,
for
again,
sure.
will probably have impacts locally. So
Right. Right. No, that's a great point. And I don't think safe is the right word, but maybe appropriate
mm,
level of scrutiny there
mhm.
before you put something out that I appreciate and see it as, I can tell that you see it too as a responsibility,
Yep.
right? To sort of get it as right as you possibly can, and that comes through in your guys' content, and so I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, are there any current projects that you're working on that the team has going on that you want to talk about?
So this is well, as you know, it's summer season, it's fishing season.
Right. Yes, sir.
um yeah, so we are really trying to dig more into what is going on with NOAA fisheries research, what is going on with our salmon runs, what is
Mm,
going on with some of the uh, fishery management decisions, and how that'll impact some of our fisheries. I know a big topic around the state is bycatch right now, of course, and
right.
the trawling industry, and its
Mm,
the fishing fleet's role in bycatch, and all of the science about where the salmon is coming from, and
right.
who's actually preventing it from getting to, or what I should say is actually preventing it from getting to, the Yukon River, the Kuskokwim. So those sort of things from a Kodiak perspective is really what we're trying to focus on this summer. And we've also
Mm,
got, of course, Pacific Seafood taking over, or has taken over, Trident, and I know that there's less competition there between our processors, and less
right.
options for our fishermen to choose from when they're selling their catch. And then you've also got a big topic that one of our colleagues in Anchorage has been looking into, Nat Hers with the Northern Journal. He's been doing a whole series on
Oh.
the loss of limited entry permits
Oh. Okay.
within fishing communities around not only Kodiak Island, but the Gulf of Alaska, really.
Right.
Um, and he spoke to some folks in Uzinki, Old Harbor. I don't think he made it to Port Lions, but there might be some content or reports in the future. So, yeah, lots of big fishing related things, I
Right.
think. Yeah.
For sure. I noticed I read from one of your articles talking about the halibut and the
Mm,
halibut stocks being way down. And that
mhm,
was so appreciative that you
mhm,
guys put that out there, because I had no idea.
mhm,
I mean, we knew in general that,
sure.
it was harder to, from a local standpoint, we'd had to go a little bit further to find
Mhm,
halibut, but didn't realize that it was at those levels. And
mm,
I think I referenced it or posted it or something to as many people as I could, so that they would know that this the situation is going on. And
mhm.
so that's a big one, obviously, as you know. And so I'm grateful to you guys for doing that. I know I've kept you about 20 minutes longer than I told you. So I apologize. I didn't mean to keep you that long, but
No, that's fine.
great conversation.
Yeah.
And do you need to kind of get going here?
Probably by 3 here, so it
Okay.
looks like we got, like, yeah, a little under 10 minutes, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we've covered a lot, and I want to thank you for taking the time to hang out with us here a little bit at King's Corner. I will let you go.
Okay.
Um, and like I said, appreciate all the hard work you guys are doing there over at KMXT. Shout out to your team, to everybody that's involved, the fundraisers and your coworkers there. Uh, Blessings to them as well.
Yeah.
And I look forward to talking to you more about this sort of idea we had of sort of an island wide, as far as the villages are concerned. Trying to gather information, pertinent information that viewers may be interested in. Um, so thank you so much, Davis,
Yeah.
for being on and taking the time to be with us. I'm grateful.
Yeah. Thank you, Koyana, again, Jess, and, yeah, I really think that, we could do a little follow-up or something, I'm sure, in the near
Absolutely,
future, especially
absolutely.
as, there are probably some things coming up in Port Lions. I know we got July 4th celebrations and,
Right,
lots of, things going on in the community, as you mentioned, and, yeah, I'm excited to hear more about what's going on in Port Lions, so,
for sure.
yeah, we'll be in touch very, very soon.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I look forward to it. And once again, everybody, if you're watching, go check out kmxt.org or listen to them on 100.1 FM, and also the 90s.
KOTK.
Okay, okay, all right.
And then
So,
you can stream us too on the KMXT app, which is free to
oh,
download.
really? Oh,
Yeah,
cool, good
I'll
deal.
plug
So
that too.
for sure, absolutely. Go ahead and get you that app and check it out. It's well worth it. A lot of great content coming out of KMXT, and so we thank you, Davis. It was a pleasure, and look forward to talking with you again soon.
Alright, thank you again, Jess, have a great day.
You too. Take care. All right. Thanks for sticking with us. I know that went a little bit longer than we had anticipated, but we are grateful once again to KMXT for taking the time and getting to know a little bit about Davis there, the news director, and the certain things that they got going on. And with that, we will switch gears quickly to our current events in the village. And I know some of you folks at home are interested in this, and hopefully this will answer some questions. So, if you notice, there's a lot of rock being prepared out at the quarry there by the airstrip, and it's being prepared for the first phase of our new water and sewer system project. And ANTHC is the one that's doing that work, and got some local hire going on, which is good. And so that's what's going on out at the airstrip, if you didn't know. And also, Antec is ordering material to store in Port Lions for phase one. So if you guys see something out there that that you're not sure what it is, it's probably material or gear from Antec. And as an update to that, I talked to Dorinda Kewen, the mayor, and she mentioned that the beginning of the construction phase may be, it's not written in stone, but it's possible to begin in the fall for that. And so look forward to that. Our water sewer system is pretty old and has had so many issues, as you guys know. We look forward to getting that fixed and getting a new system set up. So hats off to the city workers there, to Dorinda, for keeping her eye on things like that. The city has also posted a notice to avoid the new rifle range area, and the reason for that is, and they posted it, I think, at the city office and at the post office. But there will be some tree cutting going on there to clear more area for that rifle range, and it's as you go towards the reservoir there. So be mindful of that, and if you could avoid that area, there will be tree cutting going on, and the wood from that will be going to the elders. So and appropriately so. So thank you to the city for that. They have the summer library reading program that's ongoing. A reading kit is included, so stop by the library there and check out that reading kit for your kids, and say hi to Carissa. There will also be a party for this program at the end of the summer, so something to look forward to. There will also be a library fundraiser for the library on the 4th of July, so look for that. Just a couple more updates from the city's perspective. Lumber has been ordered to redo the stairs at the city hall, so that's good. As well as they'll be building new picnic tables for Boat Beach over there. So looking forward to that. There's also fencing the fencing over there by Boat Beach will be assessed, and they may repaint it. Looks like it's got a bunch of moss or something on there, but anyway, those are just a few of the things that are going on in the village. In the island news, as you all know, Kodiak commercial salmon season started on June 9th. So it was a few weeks ago. Let me continue on. Those were the main things that I wanted to talk about. I know we're a little bit close on time here, but I will skip ahead to the next portion, which is this day in history. If you guys remember, we like to talk about historical events on King's Corner, and so just some general random historical facts, and then we'll get into some state facts. And since we are short on time now because of our interview with Davis, we may just jump into Alutiiq here after this. But so Washington State facts. What we decided to do, folks, is we're going to go sort of around the country with fun facts. I know during the school year we focused on Alaska, and we talked a lot about Alaskan facts, and so we're going to continue that trend and sort of go from state to state and look at some neat and interesting facts about other states here as well. So let me pull that up for you guys. I can find it. One second, bear with me here, folks. Okay. Screen share, please. There it is. Okay. So today, since we are on today we're on Washington State, and some cool Washington State fun facts are, and I'll go through them quickly. I know we're over time here, but bear with me. Washington State fun facts. Here we go. The only state named after a president. Its highest elevation is Mount Rainier, located about 50 miles south of Seattle, and still an active stratovolcano. Let's see. The state is the largest producer of apples, red raspberries, pears, sweet cherries, hops, blueberries, and spearmint oil in the whole country. So, a lot of farmland going on in Washington State. So that's a cool fun fact. Let's see. We also have Mount St. Helens. Let me scroll down here if I can find it for you. But Mount St. Helens was, you guys remember that? There's a good picture of it right there, folks. So this was in 1980, right? And it was the largest or most destructive volcano in American history, thus far, anyway. And so it flattened about 12 and a half miles of forest when this whole sort of top of the mountain, as you guys can see here, completely blew off. And very destructive, very, very destructive. And then one more quick fun fact I will share with you all. This is an interesting one. A fake neighborhood during World War II. So we were afraid of the Japanese bombing after Pearl Harbor. So they built a whole neighborhood, as you can see here. It was to provide sort of a false target for the Japanese if they chose to bomb that area. Evergreen State is the nickname. Alki comes from Chinook, by and by. Okay, so and then our last fun fact is, excuse me, this is the Governor Albert D. Rossellini Bridge, and it's pretty neat. It's 7,580 feet long, and it's located at Evergreen Point. And it connects Seattle and Medina across Lake Washington. And the cool thing about this particular bridge is it's the longest floating bridge in the world. That's what the site claims. It's the longest floating bridge in the world, and so that's an interesting feat there. All right, we'll pop that one off and go back. Now we will jump quickly over to our safety bulletin. Obviously, fish are now in our falls upstream of our large culvert there. So as of all you guys know, use extreme caution when you're ascending and descending that thing. And I'd recommend having somebody with you while you go down there. Don't go down there by yourself. The water current, as you guys know, is very, very dangerous, or can be very dangerous, especially after a large rainfall or continuous rainfall. So take someone with you when you go down there, and let somebody know too when you guys are going down there, and let them know when you expect to be back too. So standard Alaskan safety stuff, right? There's a lot of safety hazards where we live, and so be mindful of that. There's also, I haven't seen any yet, and I haven't heard of any reports, but now's the time when bears are out and roaming around, and so keep your eyes peeled for that, and let somebody know if you see one. Let somebody know in the village if you see a bear, if you see any bear sign or anything like that, and that way that will help spread the word so that we can all be aware and prepared. All right, I'm going to jump in now to the Alutiiq real quickly, and we will start with our word of the week, which is a mouthful, but it reads: we say "Kuch ya shich chigugut Parahaudakan. And that's, excuse me, our Lutic word of the week is parahaudak, which is fishing boat, right? Parahaudak. If you're Southern style, you might say parahudak, but the Northern style, we say parahodak, which means fishing boat. And in a sentence, kuhyashich chegugut parahodakan. And that just means we are going fishing on the fishing boat. So that is our word of the week, parahaudak. Kuhyashich chegugut parahaudakan. And that's our word of the week. I will bring you through some.
Powerhouse, accessible at link to powerhouse.com.
Excuse me, that's my phone.
Their offerings include maintenance and repair, preventative maintenance, boiler repair,
1 second.
design and installation, boiler design and installation, and engineering services. Emergency solutions, 24/7.
Sorry about that, folks. My phone AI assistant just opening on its own, listening to our conversation. Okay, so jumping right back into a weather in Alutiiq. Let's check it out. We say Cheshtun tla eta, Cheshtun tla eta, Cheshtun tla eta achnach, but how is our weather today? Another way to ask it is Kayu tlach bet eta. Another way to ask how is our weather. This one, I am checking out the weather. I'm looking at the weather. And these are sort of the responses if you wanted to say what the weather is doing today. Majanguk, it is sunny. Kilachtuk, it is cloudy. Majangung nakuk, it is trying to get sunny. We see that one a lot, huh? This one's a common one too. Tlachnachtuk, it is messy. Imashuchnachtuk, another one. You guys probably understand this one. It is depressing, right? Imashuchnachtuk, Kayung luni, gusty wind blows. Kidangak, it is raining. Pinachtuk, it is nice and calm. Talumauk is overcast. Kaningak, it is snowing. And that will do it for the Alutiiq weather. And we'll do one more, and I will let you all go. Let's do place names. Let's do place names just as a review for you guys. The different place names on Kodiak Island, or Kiktuk, as we'll see. Kiktuk is island or Kodiak Island. Majik obviously where we're at here in the village, Majik Shihak. And I tried to make these pronunciation aids that you see here, guys, to help. You can't always get it right on, but you can get it close. So Majik Shihak is Port Lions. Shunak for Kodiak. Ujenkak for Uzinki. Ujenkak. Kalut for Karluk. Kalut. Uyakshuk is Larsen Bay. Uyakshuk. Nunyak is Old Harbor. And shout out to whoever named their restaurant that in Kodiak. I've had their burgers and fries, and they were very good. They were very, very good. I was impressed, and I will be going to Nunyak, the restaurant there next time I go to town. So very good. Kashukwak. Kashukwak Izakyak. Achwanak for a fogneck. Achwanak. Achwanak. All right. So I just wanted to share a few of those items with you. We can go over more next time. A lot of it was taken up by the interview with Davis, and so a lot of great information that Davis had to share, and that will do it, I think, for our first summertime broadcast of King's Corner. So we thank you for checking us out, and we hope we added some value to your day, and we hope that that you check us out on Facebook or on YouTube. We broadcast to both of them, so you can check them out at any time, whenever is best for you at your convenience. And we look forward to, we should be doing this at least twice a month. And so we look forward to bringing you another episode of King's Corner. We're going to try to live stream part of the 4th of July celebration for all the members and the viewers out there that don't have a chance to be in Port Lions. And so look forward to that. We also look forward to collaborating more with Davis at KMXT there. And another shout out to him and his team for doing a great job. And so that will do it for King's Corner. Thank you all for taking the time, and we hope it added some value to your day. And we'll see you again next time here on King's Corner. Good day, everybody.